Basketball Day in the DMV is brought to you by Coons Automotive. Over 3 million sold and counting. And 3 terrific games here in this building and counting. Brett Harris and Chad Ricardo, Basketball Day in the DMV. And we have seen overtime games. Right. We've seen some fantastic finishes. And we're about to see a real classic matchup. St. John's going against Springside Chestnut Hill out of Philadelphia. This is the DMV against Philadelphia. Bragging rights on the line here today.
And bragging rights on the line. We know how important that basketball is here in the DMV region. And SCH is going to come down here to give St. John's quite a challenge. But St. John's has been up to most challenges this year. We'll see if they can be up for another.
And for St. John's, they've got a dynamic duo, 2 of the best in this area. When you talk about kids are going to go off and play in college, this is that showcase matchup we've been waiting for.
Sure, and of course it's inside out. You're talking about Matt getting it done from the outside, and Donovan Freeman, one of the best bigs, one of the best student athletes in all of the country. He's going to be on full display here.
Yeah, I know Daquan Davis also is going to want a piece of that. Let's go down courtside and check in with Jordan Giorgio, who has more on the St. John's program.
Hey guys, yeah, St. John's, such a powerhouse, coming off a big win over DeMatha, led by head coach Pat Behan, who notched his 150th win with the program after that game, something he calls an absolute dream after what he's been through the past few years, because after he's having his team fight on the court, he's fighting his own battle against ALS as he was diagnosed with the disease last spring at 34 years old, a battle he is not fighting alone. He has his entire team, community fighting with him. St. John's actually wears these undershirts ahead of each game that read "Be Hand Strong" on them. I also learned earlier today that at the Wizards game tonight against the Magic that you can catch on NBC Sports Washington after us, the 50-50 raffle earnings will be donated to Fighting ALS in Coach Behan's honor. These young men of St. John's, so lucky to have him as an inspiring leader, you guys.
Thank you, Jordan. Just an amazing fight. Head coach Pat Behan, and diagnosed at the age of 34, and they've talked about adversity and tolerance with his team, and this team has really rallied around their head coach.
This is a team that obviously I've had the opportunity to cover for years. When you look at the St. John's Cadets, every year they are one of the most talented teams in all of the DMV. This year they're playing with a little more focus, with a little more pizzazz, and with a little more heart and discipline. And I think that a lot of that is because they're playing with a greater desire in mind, and that is to win one for their coach and their program.
Coach Pat Behan, we know, a terrific high school coach. As you heard Jordan say, 150 career wins, but he was also a really good college basketball player at Bucknell, played there 2006 to 2010, and brings that experience from Bucknell to the sidelines here with St. John's, and he's been around this DMV for a long time now. Just one of those coaches to 150 wins so quickly at only 34 years old. He's had a lot of success.
Coach talked about how he typically likes to go into the gym with his student athletes and let them know that he's the best shooter in the gym. Said that he may not have the opportunity to do that anymore nowadays, but they do know that he was a hooper in his own regard.
Oh, yeah. Pat Behan could stroke that from outside. We've got a great one on tap. St. John's getting set to go toe-to-toe with Philadelphia's Springside Chestnut Hill Academy. We're back with a tip after this. Basketball day in the DMV rolls on, and we are excited about this next matchup. St. John's comes in 16-1, and they're going to take on Springside Chestnut Hill Academy. The Blue Devils 11-7 out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Enrollment just over 1,100. Monet Davis, talk about a famous alum, 2014 Women's Athlete of the Year. You might remember she was throwing some flame balls on the Little League mound as a star in the Little League World Series. She captivated us all that year. It was a lot of fun, and she is an alum of Springside Chestnut Hill Academy. You see Julian McFadden, head coach, 7th season. I really had a lot of fun, Chad, the other day talking with Julian McFadden. Just a guy with a lot of energy, excited about this program. He is a guy that you know is going to lead this Blue Devils squad to great things here and in the future.
Such an affable head coach, such a leader of young men, such a guy who's in this sport and in this business for the right reason. You can't help but to root for him and for the success of this Springside Chestnut Hill squad. And speaking to him a little bit earlier, he said that he might need us all to be rooting for him here today as he plans to lead his young men in a David versus Goliath matchup in some regard against this big-time SJC squad.
All right, let's go courtside and check in with Jordan, who has more on the Blue Devils.
Thanks, guys. I'm going to add here to the Coach McFadden hype train that we're doing because he absolutely spoiled his team for today's televised game thanks to the Wizards and NBC Sports Washington. You know, since they were coming from Pennsylvania, he surprised them with chartering a bus that left around 10:15-ish this morning, college style, he said. He wanted his kids to feel so important heading into this one against a nationally ranked team in St. John's College High School.
And Jordan, when you're a basketball team, you can use a little extra leg room. So I like the idea of a charter bus.
Well, in addition to that, it just allowed for them to bring additional family members down as well. You want that support here playing on the big stage.
There's some of the fans making their way down, some on the charter bus coming into the DMV for this one. And St. John's will clearly have a bit of a home court advantage playing here in the DMV. This is a team that's nationally ranked. They're one of the best teams in the area, and they have two of the best players to keep an eye on when it comes to recruiting. And you can see the Max Prep top 5 in the DMV, and there is St. John's at number 4. And don't get ahead of ourselves at all here, Chad, because St. John's and Paul VI do have a matchup coming up next week.
They're coming up next week, and that is something that we asked Coach about is how do you keep your young men's attention focused on this game as opposed to looking ahead. And he mentioned the fact that he was going to be here with us on TV as well. This big stage, the big moment, the St. John's Cadets want to come and show the entire DMV what they're made of.
So the Cadets in the gray uniforms, red trim, 16-1 on the season. A top 20 team nationally. They have had some big wins this year. They beat a top 10 team in IMG Academy as part of the Behan Strong Invitational, a 6-point win against St. Augustine of California. And Chad, they've also beaten Bishop McNamara and DeMatha. And by the way, this court here at DeMatha Catholic is home away from home for Coach Behan's squad. This will be the 4th time they have played on this court this year.
Wow, so you know that they have got to feel comfortable with being here. And some of the most classic WCAC matchups between them and the Stags, of course, have been played here, so they're no stranger to the hallowed grounds at DeMatha Catholic.
You can see the Blue Devils now being introduced here to the crowd, the starting lineups, and this is a team that has had some ups and downs, 11-7 on the season. They had a very close, hard-fought matchup last night back in Philadelphia. This team played a night game Friday night, right? Less than, just over 12 hours ago. It fell 79-74 to Malvern Prep. And they also lost on Wednesday night to Episcopal Academy. That was a 7-point game. But this is a team that was 10-2 out of the gate. They're just 1-5 since. And so Julie McFadden has to figure out how to turn that around quickly.
And Coach McFadden spoke to how tough their conference is, how tough and how close those matchups are up there in the Philly region, and how one possession going one way or the other can cost you a win or a loss, and that's what they've experienced as of late. He wants to get them back on track against a big-time opponent today.
And there is Donovan Freeman, the top recruit here in D.C., averaging just under 17 points a ball game and just over 8 rebounds a game, shooting 59% from the field. He is a double-double machine. And Daquan Davis has been just as good. He's the number 3 prospect in D.C., so this St. John's Cadets team is loaded.
And when you look at Freeman, the first thing that sticks out about him, obviously, is his height. But I got to tell you, as much as he can dominate on the inside, he can also take the ball outside. He's got a handle in the way that a wing and or a guard does as well. So he is the prototypical big now that can get it done in all sorts of ways on the court.
Donovan Freeman wears the number 0, junior forward at 6'9", 190 pounds there. Center to tip it off, and here we go as the Cadets take the opening tip and get the first possession. Basketball day in the DMV. Malik Mack knocking down a 3, the senior guard, averaging 15 points a ball game.
And Malik Mack is truly the glue that holds this squad together. He gets the team in and out of their offensive sets, also a key defensive contributor.
So much talk about Freeman and Davis, but a guy like Malik Mack, man, this guy has been terrific.
He is the engine to this high-powered Cadet squad. That's why we wanted to talk about him in the open.
Take a look at the starting lineups. Camden Burns is the leading scorer for the Blue Devils. Ronald Brown, Kenai Williams, Jaron Morton, and Bird Williams for SCH Academy. And the starters for St. John's, Freeman, Davis, Mack, Raymond Watson, Timothy Barton Jr. 3-0 lead here early, St. John's, first quarter. Glad you could be with us. Brett Harris and Chad Ricardo and Jordan Giorgio down on the court level. Shot clock winding down, final seconds, got to get it off, and they don't get the shot off, and a violation back to St. John's.
Nothing spells more about how disciplined you are when you can play man-to-man defense for 30 seconds on a shot clock and the other team doesn't come close to getting a shot off.
Lob back door, and it's just thrown a little high. Off the mark. Davis was looking for Freeman.
You talk about 2 prospects looking to put on a show early. That one would have brought the house down.
A steal at midcourt on the Blue Devils turnover, and the Blue Devils get it right back. Bird Williams to the rim. Can't get it to fall on the scoop.
That's just effective defense there by Tim Barton. Hands up.
There is Davis taking it top of the key. Logo starts to run the offense. Inside, jumper Freeman no good. And Freeman still looking for his first bucket here this afternoon.
The Blue Devils have quickly switched to a 2-3 zone, attempting to keep St. John's out of the lanes. That's a nice adjustment made by Coach McFadden.
Inside, great look at a finish. It was Watts finding the cutting totally. Long range, no good. Fight for the ball underneath. It'll stay with SCH.
You see here, just swinging this ball around, getting it down to Barton, and Barton gets that shot up fast and quickly off the glass. A challenge because Big Al was coming to try to block it.
A little floater hit by Camden Burns, the junior guard. (5-2) St. John's here early in the first quarter. We've had some terrific games so far. Patriot got a win in overtime. Gwynn Park. Long three, no good. And then DeMatha there in the game just before us, falling to Word of God out of North Carolina. And every game so far, Chad, has been close.
Been a good game. It's a great day for hoops, great day for basketball on NBC Sports Washington.
Jumper no good, and Freeman there to clean the glass. Freeman pushing, he'll draw the foul, go to the line. And that foul is going to go on Alassane Amadou. Amadou picking up his first.
Coach Behan talked about how important it is for Donovan Freeman to get going and to get going downhill. We saw there on that play he had an option to kick out to a three-point shooter, but wanting to establish himself in this game, he kept it going and drew a foul and hit to the free throw line.
Freeman misses the first foul shot. Should keep an eye on this matchup. Donovan Freeman and Amadou. Amadou, one of the best defenders on the East Coast.
That's right.
Coach Julian McFadden said he's the best he's seen. He's got 61 blocks on the season. Those two matching up is going to be really intriguing to watch.
Amadou is going to test Freeman, and we'll see whether Freeman continues to go right at him or he's able to force Freeman to play a perimeter game.
Out of bounds, it'll stay with the Blue Devils. There's Amadou. Big Al head to Marquette. He's a senior. He'll be there next year. Slow start for him last night in that loss up in Philadelphia to Malvern Prep. Finished with 15 points, all 15, though, coming in the second half.
Wow.
So he'd like to get off to a little quicker start here this afternoon.
And they're probably going to need for him to do so. I mean, he's a shot blocker, or a rim protector, but today they may need his scoring prowess as well.
Freeman extends on the jumper and can't get it to go. Some struggles here early. Freeman has missed his first couple of shots.
And that is exactly what Big Al is there for, to force him out of that paint, to take away the easy buckets just long enough for the Blue Devils to get their feet up under him and start to score buckets.
Amadou is 6'9". When you read the stats and know that this guy's got 61
Sure.
blocks, I got to think Freeman knows that, right in the back of his mind, that this is a shot block.
That's what we see thus far, is he is choosing to kind of camp out around that free throw line as opposed to down in the paint.
Right through the hands of Amadou there. Big Al on the turnover. Of course, there have been some great shot blockers up in Philadelphia over the years. I think of a great Wilt Chamberlain. Three ball. No good, and a whistle on the floor, and Malik Mack, I think, is going to shoot three.
Yeah, foul is going to be called on Brown. It looked like he came up under him just a little bit. It's a costly foul. You send him to the line for three.
So Malik Mack goes to the line. He has made more foul shots than anybody else on this team this year. Misses the first. He's made 79. And the one thing that really Coach talked about when it comes to Malik Mack is the fact he's going to Harvard.
Yes.
First ever. St. John.
Max Preps National Top 25. I mean, you can say it. This is one of the best hoops hotbeds in the country.
Oh, I coached in college for a long time. For offensive boards. Who's going to do all the extra little dirty work things that don't necessarily show up all the time on the stat sheet, right? Or on Instagram or on all this, right? You have to have that grinded out mentality on the defensive end if you want to win. And you have to have more than your opponent and win your matchup.
And we'll see who's got more of it with 8 minutes to go in a 1-point game. Winston trying to sneak into the paint, stripped by Collins. Collins spinning into the lane, turned his back to the defender. Offensive foul. Adam Fox getting back in transition. A huge moment there for DeMatha.
Let's take a look. Transition for Word of God. I don't know if he was quite established, Brian, and I'm no official, and nor do I want to be. However, he was not squared.
Is he helping himself when he goes to the spin move, though?
No. I mean, you have to be established when the contact occurs, and I don't believe the defender was in legal guarding position at the point of contact. Nearly
another steal there. 9 on the shot clock now for Winston to work with. Matched up with Mondin. Winston to his left. To Thomas. Got to shoot it. Didn't catch the rim, and so it's going to be a shot clock violation. One of those circumstances. Can't be happy when you're a big man and you get the ball with 1 on the shot clock. No, it's throwing a grenade with the pin pulled out of it. Like, what am I going to do with this? Somebody right in my face. I'm outside of my comfort zone. I'm not squared up. Got to get a shot off, though. Get the ball up to the rim, at least try for an offensive board. As it looks like DeMatha going 1-3-1 here off the inbounds, getting a deflection, knocking it out of play. Let's see if they trap out of it. They've done a good job of trapping in their full court press. Coleman, the deep trigger, no good. Double foul going to be called on Mekhi Grant and Adam Fox down low as the officials trying to take control of this game, it appears. .6:58 to go as we take a look at it, Christy. Here they are just tangled up. No one wants to let go, and there's a little extra shove there for emphasis, and you can't do that, right? The whistle blows. It's a double foul called on that play. And you get tangled up in there. It's an entanglement. You got to free your arms. Another double foul going to be called here. Let's see who it is. We're going to take another look at this one. And it's the same thing. That wrapped around each other? Yeah, I mean, it's a physical, I don't know. And don't get me started, because I played in the post. It's physical down in there, okay? There's no advantage by either player on that play. Let them play on. That's my opinion. Don't tweet at me and stuff like that. So DeMatha going to try and take advantage, and Malcolm Thomas just pulling his way to the rim, drawing the foul. It looks like it was Mekhi Grant with the contact there, and so the Stags can extend the lead at the free throw line here. Let's take a look. Malcolm Thomas right here, just taking it to the rack, creating contact. Feels like one of the buzzwords in coaching these days, playing with force. Yeah. Looked like it right there. Yeah, he was playing with force because both of his parents played at Syracuse with some force. Eton and Nicole Thomas, they're here. Oh, yes, look at mommy. Yes, mom. Yes, mom. I'm here for the basketball moms. Nicole was a baller at Syracuse.
cheering on her baby. I love it.
Splits the pair at the free throw line. We got a 2-point game, 36-34, 6:42 to go. Deep basketball in the DMV from Capital One Arena. Isaiah Coleman as this zone, trying to chase down the ball. Collins looking for the kick out. Left side, Mondin pulls up, 8 on the clock. Nice jumper for Justin Mondin, ties it up at 36.
Ooh, that was pretty. That was a pretty gooseneck pull up with less than 6 seconds on the shot clock too. They had to massage that zone to get to that mid-range shot. Nicely executed by word of God.
A senior who Byron Williams told us coming into his own. They're trying to see if he'll get some late college offers here. 8 on the shot clock, spinning as Arnold gets it to the rim, no good. Leaking out was Mondin, but they couldn't get the hit ahead. Now Coleman, pull up at the elbow. Gets his own board, back up with it, too strong. Massaquoi controls the board. Winston up ahead. Arnold pulls it from 3. Short, no good. Gets his own rebound, bounce pass. Lewis goes reverse. Thomas no on the follow, but the 4th time the charm. It's Massaquoi giving DeMatha the 2-point lead.
DeMatha just sticking with that play. Stayed persistent and it paid off.
DeMatha sending the double team, but not necessarily fully committing to the trap right now. It's Mondin, splits the defense, looks opposite. Nice pump, trigger, foul, and 1. Isaiah Coleman, a chance to give word of God the lead with 4:57 to go, and how about that poise?
How about this sequence? Both teams playing tough. Bucket goes up. Oh, Malcolm Thomas just couldn't get it to go, and they stayed with it. And then word of God, not going anywhere. The birdie, pump fake, and then stick it with contact in the mid-range for the end one opportunity. I mean, the energy for both teams right now, you can tell it's coming down to it. And we're in a 1-point game, Brian, and it's on and popping here in the DMV.
It was a 1-point game the first time around in Raleigh in December. We might be onto the same type of finish as Mondin, the active hands. He's got Quaintance with him. Instead, he has it stripped. Out of bounds, it'll stay with the Holy Rams, 24 on the shot clock. But right now, Christy, valuing possessions, making sure you get a shot up, it feels imperative.
Yeah, you have to, but you also have to make sure that you are playing with poise and composure, even though the moment is telling you to speed yourself up and we have to win. There's a way to do that, and you have to stay mentally locked in.
Mondin weaving his way, getting it back, launching from 3, no good. And the rebound comes down to Chris McElvey. Coming quickly the other way. Massaquoi, baseline jumper. No good, Hearns the rebound. Taking a tumble was Quaintance's. He got his feet tangled. Mondin goes down to the ground with it. It's gonna be a travel. And sort of like that first half, it's getting a little frenetic here.
It is. I think somebody needs to call a timeout just so they can woo-saw and get to recollect themselves in this moment, because, I mean, already today we had an overtime game, we had a 1-possession game, and then look at this game. I mean, just a great docket of hoops here in DC today.
Jacob Wallace coming up court. A 1-4 set here.
There's that Iverson thing. Here we go. See if they get a pick and roll out of that. They can still continue it. They get the guards the ball, but then they can get a ball screen off of that and maybe slip down to the rim and get an easy bucket inside.
Instead, Winston going to try to do it himself and did just enough to draw the contact. And so it's back to the free throw line. It's the 9th team foul on the Holy Rams, so we're going to shoot 1 and 1 here. And free throw is going to be so important.
Trying to get downhill, but I mean, what could have helped clear that space a little bit is to get some screening action. Set a ball screen for him, and then let him go and make a read off of that, right? And this
2 hands.
Ryan Call was underneath and took a brunt on the backside of that slam dunk.
Quite literally, as you see Mac fly in there with the 2-handed jam, hanging on the rim for his own protection. However, when he came down, We had a collision. Thankfully, both young men are all right.
Let's go down to the court and check in with Jordan.
Each week, Blue Devils head coach Julian McFadden told me that he displays a word of the week somewhere in the gym for his team to find. This week's word, perseverance. It was chosen because after starting the season 10-2, it really hasn't gone their way the past few weeks, having lost 3 of their last 4 games. And from what we've seen on the court thus far, they're showing a bit of that perseverance despite a big challenge in front of them in St. John's.
If you're going to take your head on, you got to take them off. They're too high level of a team for us to kick, hold in, wait, I don't know what I want to do. No. If you're open and you want to take them on, all right? Yo, keep making great cuts.
Stop playing timid. Stop playing timid. We're not in here with them. They're in here with us. Ready to go. Let's go.
That was good, man. 1, 2, 3.
When Coach McFadden told us adversity builds character, they have had some adversity over the last couple of weeks, and he is looking for his team to show a little toughness here.
Well, you love the intensity out of Coach in that huddle. Repeatedly stop playing timid. They are here now. They're on this stage. They're in this ball game. The moment is yours. You just got to seize it if you're a Blue Devil fan.
Stuck in a trap in the quarter. Call trying to get out of it. Knocked out of bounds. It'll stay with SCH. This is a team that plays fast. They're a fast-breaking team. They really do shoot the three-pointer well.
Yes.
SCH does. It starts with defense. Coach said you got to be able to stop the other team, but it's also a selfless team. They do like to share it.
Just moving the ball around, making sure that you get the best shot possible, not the first shot.
There's the pass outside. Call's going to take it baseline. Nice little dish inside, but unable to handle it is Brown. And then out of bounds on the break, and it's going to go back to the Blue Devils.
Mac not quite having the first half that he was looking for yet. He saw the big slam dunk from him, but a few missed free throws and turning that ball over in the open court. He'll look to get going.
Mac's got 6 here in the first half. We're in the second quarter with 5:15 left. St. John's 21-15, 6-point lead over Springside Chestnut Hill Academy out of Philadelphia. Flying in rebound. The putback is good. It's Amadou back on the court.
Making instant dividends as you had a good look from downtown. It's rims out, but Big Al flies in there, gets the offensive rebound and puts it back in.
This kid, Amadou, Big Al, didn't even start playing basketball till the 9th grade.
Man.
And already, Coach McFadden says he has a very versatile game. Can't hit the free throw to finish the three-point play. It's a 4-point game at 21-17. No defense down the other end, and an easy bucket for Timothy Barton Jr.
Just good eyes by Mac, keeping them up. He finds Barton streaking, and Tim Barton Jr. is making his presence felt on this game.
St. John's in the man-to-man. Playing the three-point line. This is a team that likes the Blue Devils to shoot the three. Amadou on the turnaround. Oh, gets a friendly roll.
Look at the versatility of the big fella, saying, I'm not just a post player, rim guarder. I can shoot it from a little bit outside as well.
There's that matchup, Amadou and Freeman. And then there's a switch, and Freeman has a mismatch. Boy, the big fella wants it underneath. Dribble drive and the kick out. Barton is blocked. Brown, the third, sends it away. And on the break, but he can't get it to go. Didn't get the foul. Here comes St. John's. And the finish on the business end. Donovan Freeman.
It's a huge 4-point swing. The Blue Devils had themselves a chance for a layup. Didn't get it. St. John's gets the alley-oop.
Amadou short on the three. Freeman comes down with the rebound. 25-19. Oh, and it's stripped at midcourt and a foul.
Man.
Freeman may have been bailed out with that call. Another look at the alley-oop.
Just star-to-star alley-oop there. They tried it a little bit earlier. Davis could not get it to Freeman, but this time they execute, and that is a thing of beauty.
Freeman shoots nearly 60% from the field, and when you get them in close like that, the percentages are going to go up. Davis feeling it, no good. Martin fight for the rebound, but it goes to the Blue Devils here. Another three. Brown, the third, misses. This is a really fast-paced game up and down the floor.
Both teams are streaking. Both teams are shooting that three-point ball. And right now, if you're the Blue Devils, though, are you falling too much in love with that shot? Because a 6-point game can turn to double digits in a split second. If you are, you want to focus, concentrate, and attempt to get on the inside and get a couple of easy buckets.
SCH shoots a high volume. They score about 61 points a ball game, shoot 44%, but it is about getting a lot of shots up, and they do shoot a lot of threes as well. Foul shot on the first one is knocked down by Mack, who has 7 points and 4 steals already in this ball game.
You see him finally knock down one free throw and
shaking his head. He can't believe that would have to rattle home.
Oh, clearly, Brent, it was the shirt. Now that the shirt's gone, he's good.
And he made them both. 27-19, St. John's, 8-point lead. Does the basket count? It does. Camden Burns.
Camden Burns putting in work there, taking his man off of the dribble and finishing despite the foul. You see here the crossover. Matt got a bump on him shoulder to shoulder. Doesn't throw him off, puts that one up and in.
73% free throw shooter, knocks it down. Burns is also a good three-point shooter, and they are extending the defense, St. John's. And that was a chance for Burns to break down the D. 3, Mack. Davis kicks it out on the reset. Jeremy Clark, who just checked in. It's Mack. Shot clock is down to 5. Over to Davis. 3 in and out. He had to shoot it. Final seconds on the shot clock. Going the other way. Tough left-handed shot and draws the foul is Kadai Williams. And a sophomore has been very active as he heads to the line.
When you look at the Blue Devils, if you didn't look at the score, you might think that they're losing by, 8 to 10 points. But here, an opportunity with 2 free throws to get this down to 3. If you are Coach McFadden, you've got to feel good about where your young men and where your team are right now.
Bird Williams knocks them both down. And Williams now with 6 points here in the first 2 quarters. 3 ball. Front rim. Been a lot of battles on the boards here today. A lot of loose balls as well. This one's going to go SCH.
SCH, SJC. There's a lot of S's and C's as we describe these two teams.
And of course, we've seen a lot of great WCAC games on this court. DeMatha, not on their home court today. They were over at Capital One Arena, taking on the team from North Carolina, Word of God. Tough 3-point loss for the Stags.
It's a bit of a rebuilding year for the DeMatha Stags. We have to believe that they will, in a year or so, be back on track and competing. They'll still compete for a WCAC championship here this year, but be back in regard of being favored for those honorees.
Burns to the line, misses the first. He's got 8 right now here in this first half as Donovan Freeman checks back in. Just a short break, little breather for Freeman. We mentioned it before. This is the 4th time that St. John's has played on this court. It's like the home away from home.
That's right.
For the Cadets, ranked 4th in the DMV, and they've had some big wins this year. They went out to San Diego and won the Holiday Classic. They won the Dream City Invitational. So the hardware is piling up this season for Pat Behan and the St. Johns Cadets. Out in front on the turnover. The hoop and the harm. Daquan Davis was there to defend, but it didn't matter.
What's a
Burns was there to finish.
It's a questionable decision on behalf of Daquan Davis. It appeared as though Camden Burns was well ahead of the play. Sometimes you love student athletes to compete, but sometimes you just got to let that go. As Burns gets out ahead, a bit of a clear path, coming to attempt to block it, but you end up giving a three-point play and adding an additional foul to your docket.
And Burns into double digits. And not only is it a chance to give the opponent a three-point play, but you also pick up a foul. We have seen in the first couple of games here today. Foul trouble has cost a victory in at least one of those games. Yeah. Foul trouble down the stretch, especially in high school where you only get 5.
I'm telling you.
Got to be careful.
I mean, if you look at what was our second game of the day, McKenna, he was off to an amazing start for Glenell. I mean, he had seemingly 10 points in the first 2 minutes of the game. Ended up picking up his third foul, had to go to the free throw line for an extended period of time. And though he did score a few more buckets, he wasn't able to get back on track completely offensively. If you're Davis right now, it's a tie game. Your team might need you later on.
Well, in that first game, Cam Ward, who is a terrific player, had 24, but he fouled out late in the fourth quarter. It went to overtime, and that's where Patriot pulled away. The final there was 91-79. Patriot 15-2 on the season. Gwynn Park with a 3-point win over Glenell, as you were just mentioning. Again, foul trouble for McKenna, who's one of their best players. The 3-point loss for DeMatha. That game was over at Capital One Arena. And just a reminder, you do have Wizards tonight. Wizards and Magic right here on the network. Pre-game starts 6:30. Tip-off at 7 o'clock. All part of this basketball day in the DMV.
Markel Fultz coming home.
Right, he had a few pretty decent games, right, on this court. We've got a tie ball game, and that happened in a hurry. St. John's lost the lead, and the Blue Devils lost the basketball. We're tied at 27, final inside a minute now of the second quarter.
45 seconds remaining here. I would love to see St. John's against this zone, get it to the middle to Freeman and allow him to be a creator.
Freeman has 11. He leads St. John's right now. Burns with 11 for the Blue Devils. That three no good by Burns. It's about a 2-second difference between the shot clock and game clock. St. John's is going to hold it here, try to run it down and see if they can have the final shot, final possession. Cross court on the drive. Pretty. Oh, the rebound, and my goodness, that was silky smooth from Malik Mack, and did it count?
That's the question.
They might take a look at this over the scores table, and Julie McFadden says that the clock hit 0. The horn sounded before the shot clock, before the shot got up. Let's take another look at it. And you saw Mack on the reverse. It was rejected, but what a heads-up play to control it and try to get this shot off.
That's right. Resettles
himself.
Oh, no,
that looks good.
That up.
I feel like that was good.
It looked good to the naked eye as well.
Both teams still out on the court. Coaches as well, waiting to see if this basket is going to count. And the basket is good.
Yeah.
And that is out of his hands. Boy, it is close. Chad, is very close. And without the replay, the ability to see it in slow motion, and a 29-27 lead for St. John's. Let's go down to Jordan.
Coach, your team came out dominant and aggressive to start this game despite the score at the half. How do you ensure that you get back to that early momentum in the second half?
Yeah, we got to do a better job of guarding without fouling. And we've got probably 3 guys with 2 fouls. They're in the double bonus, so our half-court defense has to be better, communicate more. And then we got to step up and make free throws ourselves, take care of the ball, and keep the game simple. We just got a little bit careless, and we need to come out with a better approach the second half.
Blue Devils certainly putting up the fight. What is going to be the biggest challenge for your team to overcome to ensure that you close this one out?
I think it's just, again, keeping it simple. We have to be able to share the ball in the half court. They played zone about 80% of the first half, so against the zone, we got to find the soft spots and attack the rim. I think we got to be more aggressive. And then, again, just defensively, it's probably where it's going to be won and lost. Can we hold them to one shot, get clean rebounds, and advance the ball quicker?
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Guys?
Thank you, Jordan. And right now, St. John's with a +3 on the rebound advantage here in the first 2 quarters. 2-point lead for St. John's, 29-27, as the Capital Hoops Challenge rolls on, presented by the Washington Wizards. DeMatha Catholic High School is the setting for basketball day in the DMV. And we have had a terrific day, and this is a great game as well. We're at halftime. St. John's with a 2-point lead, 29-27 over Springside Chestnut Hill out of Philadelphia. And this first half had it all. You had star power.
That's right.
You had both teams, I think, delivering some haymakers. And here we are at the break, and it is a tight one.
A tie game, and I give credit to the Blue Devils. It felt a little bit early like they were going to be on the ropes, but Coach McFadden's team kept fighting back hard and aggressive, and here we are.
Well, we talk about the star power. Donovan Freeman is the biggest star right now at the DMV. He had a slow start, missed his first couple of shots, and then, Chad, he started to heat up.
Well, big-time players make big plays on big stages. Donovan Freeman came out here ready to make these plays, and you saw him attacking the rim, showing off his passing ability as well. Anything that you need this young man to do, throwing it down, he can do it. Donovan Freeman. But on the other side, it was the Blue Devils showing their prowess to take the ball directly at the rack and finish through contact. That's that grit. That's that gritty mentality that comes from a Philadelphia team. Rocky, the Philadelphia Eagles would be proud as they're fighting back into this game.
Now they just have to hit their foul shot. 6 of 12 from the line for the Blue Devils. And here are the first half stats. Shooting 40%. The Cadets in this game. Points in the paint, big difference, a +8. 20-12. Both teams have 5 steals each, a 2-point lead. Freeman had 11 in the first half. Malik Mack had 10. And then it was on the other side for the Blue Devils, Camden Burns led the way with 11.
And Camden Burns was truly the beneficiary as the Blue Devils started to get up and down a little bit and begin to attack the rack. He was the one doing a ton of damage for them. Now look at the St. John's Cadets. I mean, just 1 of 9 from behind the three-point arc. They're going to need for Donovan Freeman to continue to dominate if they can't make outside jumpers.
Amadou, Big Al had 2 fouls there in the first 2 quarters and spent a little time on the bench. That matchup with Amadou and Freeman was very intriguing in the first 2 quarters, and we'll see where that goes here in the second half. Right now, let's go down courtside, and Jordan has a head coach, Julie McFadden.
Hey guys, Coach, the message to your team heading into this one was simple. Do your job and play that selfless basketball that you know your team is capable of playing. You got to be pleased with the effort they showed you in that first half to keep this one close.
Extremely pleased. Extremely pleased. I think it was more about, deciding that, like, they're high school kids just like we are, right? Like, they got up this morning, they put on their sneakers, their shorts. They were sleepy when they woke up, right? Like, it was really just getting kind of in the act of wanting to play basketball and wanting to compete, and they did a great job of it, so hopefully we can do it in a second.
Sleepy in that college-style charter bus all the way here, right? Thanks to Coach. Well, I got to ask you, what are you looking for in the second half from your team?
I think more than anything, it's got to be the rebounding, right? Like, the rebounding is what we've given up a couple second chance points. And, a team like that, they're not going to miss the second time that they get an opportunity to score. So we got to definitely get a body on every single guy, and we got to go after the ball with 2 hands.
Do your job with the pregame message. What did you tell them in the locker room?
We got to do our job for another half. I think we're really good in stretches, and there's times that we can fall asleep, and we can't really do that against a team of this caliber. So essentially to do your job again and to, play with a little more vigor on the offensive, defensive boards.
Thanks, Coach.
No problem.
Guys?
Thank you, Jordan. 7 offensive boards for St. John's. It led to 20 going to the paint. That's what head coach Julius McFadden wants to clean up second half straight ahead. Two-point lead as we're about to start the third quarter, 29-27 St. John's. Here at the Capitol Hoops Challenge. Into those first 2 quarters for Springside Chestnut Hill Academy, it was Camden Burns who led the way. He had 11 points. The junior guard was fantastic. Knocked down a couple outside shots, 5 rebounds as well.
Camden Burns truly is pushing this squad forward. I mean, at 6 foot, just a junior, but he is a true leader for this squad. We'll see if he can get it done in the second half.
And for St. John's, Donovan Freeman missed his first 2 shots of this game. Then he made 5 of his next 7 for 11 points, 5 rebounds, and a couple of block shots as well.
You want to talk about a big fellow that can fill up a stat sheet. That is Donnie Freeman, looking for a huge third quarter. They would like to put some distance between themselves and the Blue Devils.
6'9", and the wingspan was a problem for the Blue Devils inside. The St. John's and the Gray Uties begin the second half here with the basketball. 2-point lead, 29-27. Brent Harris, Chad Ricardo, and Jordan Giorgio down on the court. A little collision there. Got to shake off the cobwebs.
One of the things that we saw in the first half, and it is prevalent again on that first possession, is that when Alassane Amadou is in the game checking Donnie Freeman, it slows him down a bit. A lot of his damage was done when Big Al was on the bench.
And Big Al really is a defensive specialist. Talked about the 61 blocks coming into the game. He averages just 7.5 points a ball game, so they don't need his scoring as much as they need the defense.
That's right.
And especially today with Freeman. There's the matchup, and Freeman gets the best of Amadou.
Now that's a huge play by Donnie Freeman, taking the matchup personally and going right at Big Al and scoring over top of him.
13 now for Donovan Freeman. Boy, we've seen a lot of talent today. That sensational sophomore Cam Ward, Donovan Freeman, #1 prospect, Daquan Davis, #3 prospect, and a knockdown jumper there for SCH. And this remains a close game, 31-29.
Big Al continues to show us that he has offensive scoring ability as well.
Amadou is 6 points, very close to his season average.
That's right.
He's going to set a pick here. Dribble drive and a kick out, and a three-pointer knocked down by Jaron Morton, the senior swingman.
It's a huge shot, nice ball movement.
And that short lead, first lead of the game for SCH, was about 7 seconds, and St. John's went down and scored 33-32 Cadets. Loose ball midcourt. Burns comes up with it. Kick out, good ball movement. And that three is short for Brown.
That is the shot that you want, though. You've got to feel good about that.
Got caught in the air. Mack gives it back. And an air ball from the corner.
Unselfish play, just didn't hit the shot, but that's okay.
Blue Devils looking to turn defense into that transition game, but good job, St. John's getting back. Crossover. And Burns misses the jumper.
We'll see whether Matt can get the ball to Freeman. It's one of the reasons why is because as Donnie Freeman goes, so goes the Cadets. We see him here going right at Big Al into his chest, finishing over him, but then coming back and saying that I can do that too. Big Al on the turnaround jump shot finishes that, but this gave them the lead momentarily. Jaron Morton knocking it down.
Some terrific ball movement out of SCH. I thought it was interesting listening to Julian McFadden, head coach of the Blue Devils there at halftime, said, you know, it took a couple of minutes, and then our kids realized, you know, they put on their gym shorts and their tennis shoes the same way we do. They got up a little later today, right, just as high school kids do, and he said it's no different. They're high school kids like us.
Well, that's what it felt like. That's what it felt like early is that that they were out here, and maybe it took them a few moments to understand that they belonged on the same court as this nationally ranked behemoth, but now they're playing ball.
(35-32) St. John's with the lead here in the third quarter. We've got the basketball in the gray uniforms, white and red trim. Jump shot no good for Davis. Flying through the air. And by the way, Brown for the Blue Devils, 4 fouls, little foul trouble for Coach McFadden's squad there, so we'll keep an eye on it. Pretty early to have 4 fouls.
They've done a great job defensively on Davis, really keeping him from getting going.
Triple try is short, and Barton comes down with it. Starts the break. Mack gives it to Freeman, who stripped. Good defensive play. But Feimster was looking for the delivery to Morton, couldn't control it. Out of bounds and back to St. John's.
That's an excellent play on the defensive end. You would have loved to have gotten 2 out of that coming back the other way.
Missed opportunity on the fast break for Springside Chestnut Hill. Again, they played last night. You wonder how much they have in the tank on that short turnaround. A little bit of a travel coming down from Philadelphia. Freeman.
There we go.
Strong finish right over Amadou.
Now Donnie Freeman is beginning to truly establish himself with Big Al on the court. That makes all the difference.
Poked away. Good hustle down there by Davis.
When you're an alpha male, you want to establish that dominance no matter who you're playing against, going directly into the chest of Amadou, finishing with the right hand over him. That sends a message.
Remember, he's taken that to a pure shot blocker. Right. Comes in, 61 blocks on the season. And Freeman hasn't backed down at all. 3 ball no good, and Freeman is there to clean it up.
It's an important defensive possession for the Blue Devils. You need a stop here.
Freeman, dribble, drive, hoop in the harm.
Donnie Freeman, as he goes, so goes the Cadets. And right now, he and this team is building momentum. I mean, you just get the ball at the top of the key, go left hand, finish with the left hand through the contact. The Philly boys need a stop and they need a score.
Amadou picks up his 3rd, and Freeman will go to the foul line. Chance for a 3-point play. 15 points, 5 boards, couple of block shots as well. And Freeman fill it up. The stat sheet, he is a double-double machine this season. And averaging just a hair under 17 a ball game.
Scoring is important no matter at what point in time in the game it is, but sometimes how you score is even more important. And Freeman, the best player for the Cadets, going right at the best player for the Blue Devils, has sent a message, and now we got a 9-point advantage.
And it was Davis on that last one. They're sort of the Superman or Batman, Robin. They are a real dynamic duo inside at a finish. And SCH answers. Jaron Morton, a senior, inside, gets the finish, and check it out. It starts with defense, no surprise.
It's the easiest way to do it, turning defense into offense, understanding where Freeman is, dropping it off to Camden Burns, who's afraid of no one, finishing at the rack to get this back down to a 7-point advantage.
And Kenai Bird-Williams was losing his balance. We see him there. He looks okay, kind of limped off. But at the last second realized he had his teammate Morton trailing, and just a heads-up play to get him the basketball.
I mean, that was the smart play. And again, you know, I mean, especially off balance, you're setting yourself up for Freeman to send the ball back to half court, but instead he makes the smart play, finds his teammates. You get this 2, you get this timeout, and we'll see where they can go from here.
Julian McFadden, the head coach, he's in his 7th season with Springside Chestnut Hill Academy up in Philadelphia, and we did have a great time talking with him this week. And one of his good friends is Torrey Smith and Torrey's wife Chanel. They have gotten very close over the years. We know Torrey, of course, the former Maryland Terrapin, went on to play with the Ravens and Eagles and a Super Bowl champion as well. But as we sat through listening and talking to him, and it kind of hit me. I said, I know this voice. He seems so familiar. He sounds just like Torrey Smith. It's unbelievable that these guys are such close friends, and their mannerisms and their delivery very much the same. The delivery of Donovan Freeman continues to be a good one as he knocks down that jumper. And here comes St. John's after the block.
Man.
No whistle, and it goes out of bounds. And I think it's going to stay with St. John's. We haven't got an indication yet, but boy, some high fly at action.
Man, you look at Freeman just working the dribble and the pull-up to make that shot, and then he blocked a shot on the other end as well.
Goes to SCH. Jump shot. Camden Burns misses. He didn't miss a lot in the first half. He's missed a couple here to start the third quarter. 2 minutes left, third quarter. 43-34. Beautiful move by Davis. He can't get it to fall. Offensive board. And then Amadou comes down with it.
Nice defensive stop. You need a score.
A foul before the ball went out of bounds. It's going to be on Zion Chase, the freshman.
We saw Chase give the Cadets some good moments there in the first half. We'll see if he can do that again.
First team foul against St. John's. Inbounds play. Amadou from the corner. Thinking about it against Freeman. He wants to back him down. Not a lot of space there. That was a tough shot.
Yeah, it was. You see those two heavyweights going head-to-head more and more often now. Freeman winning the battle in the second half.
Oh, that's a tough shot by Davis. Daquan Davis knocking down a triple.
You felt as though one of the reasons why the game was so close was because he couldn't get going. He's starting to turn the key in the ignition.
Bucket, a steal. Ball on the floor and a travel.
And Daquan Davis, we've been talking all game long about how big time of a student athlete he is here. Eyes it, tries it, buys it from way downtown. And outside jump shot starting to fall for number one. Oh.
My goodness. So just as St. John's opens up a 10-point lead, SCH with a little mini answer.
Just an outstanding set play to get a dunk for Big Al at the rim.
Davis using the left hand and a little protection around the rim. Davis starting to come alive. He's got 7. He had missed his first 3 from outside, Chad, but he keeps shooting, and he made that last one, and you're starting to see that confidence build.
I mean, hanging in there, and Freeman missed them there. He'll want that one back.
When your nickname is Big Al, you know you can do some big things, Chad, and he is a big man delivering in a big way.
Just a nice set play coming out. Big Al goes back door and throws it down with thunder, two-handed. You love to see it. Keeping this game within striking distance. That's what's important right now for the Blue Devils.
It's a 10-point game. It was a 2-point game at halftime with St. John's leading by 2 and now with a 10-point lead. But as you mentioned, again on the road, keeping it within striking distance and a chance maybe if something could go well and maybe start on the defensive end, you could turn this thing around in a hurry.
You just got to keep it close right now. I mean, again, St. John's is not a nationally ranked team for nothing. They've got big-time student athletes over there. You've got to know that they were going to go on a run. You have to mitigate that run and keep it from getting too big. You get here and then get into the fourth quarter and see if you can hang around for long enough.
St. John's 16-1 on the season. We have mentioned that big showdown coming up next week against number 6 in the country, Paul VI. But as Coach Behan told us, you can't look past this one today, and they haven't. Davis, boy, that was deep. He had to beat the quarter clock nearly knocked it down, and that is how the third quarter will end. 48-38, St. John's with the lead, up 10 on Springside Chestnut Hill Academy, the Blue Devils out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Of course, let's go down courtside and check in with Jordan.
Hey, Brent, I heard you mentioned it earlier. Funny connection that SCH Coach McFadden has to our own Torrey Smith, as Torrey mentors Coach McFadden's son, also named Julian, who's sitting on the bench right now as he came right from his 7-on-7 practice at Maryland, where Torrey is actually his head coach. Coach McFadden told me earlier this week that Torrey is truly someone he looks up to as a fantastic leader, as he understands how to just mold better human beings, something we know Torrey continues to prioritize in our community, as he announced some pretty big news earlier this week that the Baltimore Ravens are committing $20 million to create Baltimore's newest boys and girls club that Torrey is leading, changing, impacting young lives, including Coach McFadden's. But Brent, I got to tell you, I have a bone to pick with Torrey now. He was supposed to come up and show up to today's game, but we'll have to let it slide because he did tell me that he had to get up to Philly to be an honorary captain in today's big Eagles-Giants game as they welcome back that Super Bowl team. So I guess he gets a pass.
Yeah, Jordan, Torrey is a busy man, right? He's heading up to Philly. He was at Eagle. He knows about winning Super Bowls. That is cool that he's the honorary captain for that big playoff game coming up later today. And I know he wished he was here, right? Julian, that is his guy. And what a busy day for Coach McFadden's son, Julian Jr., right? He had football practice. Torrey is his coach. And then he comes over here for this game. He plays on the JV team, by the way.
That's right.
He'll be on varsity here sometime soon. But what a cool story with Julie McFadden and Torrey Smith and Torrey. I wonder if Torrey could have. There he is. There's Julian Jr. I wonder if Torrey could have jumped on that nice charter bus going back up to Philly. He didn't have to drive.
Yeah, they could have gotten into the HOV lane. But, Coach McFadden was talking about his son, said that he's primarily a football player, but he's a hooper as well. So we certainly look forward to seeing Julian grow up and grow into that body, that physique, and be the primetime student athlete that we're sure that he'll become.
Oh, we see so many dual sport athletes. That jumper is short for Watts. Football, basketball just has a real natural fit. We saw today a lot of football stars playing basketball and stars in their own right on the court. And there's a whistle. 10-point game, 48-38. Still St. John's with the lead. 7 minutes left here, fourth quarter.
First couple of minutes of this quarter are going to be paramount for the Blue Devils. Again, you're trailing by 10. There are no 10-point shots in basketball. It's key for them to take this one possession at a time on both the offensive and defensive end.
Well, that lead out to 13 as Malik Mack knocks it down. Largest lead of the day for the Cadets.
Don't rush what you're doing. You just want to get this down to 7 by about the 5-minute mark.
Amadou hands it off. Burns can't hit it. Mack comes down with it, pushing. Oh, he takes it right to Amadou. Kicks it out. If he had shot it, he'd be going to the line. He ended up passing the basketball, but he does draw the foul.
Well, I'm sure that Malik Mack felt as though he's gotten to the rack a couple of times and not gotten that foul. So being a point guard, looking to make the point guard play, passing it back out, especially with this 13-point advantage, a chance to run a little more clock.
It's hard midair. Once you decide to pass it, it's hard to just go back to shooting it after you hear the whistle. Long three. Off the mark for Mack. Burns to the corner. Can the three ball get the Blue Devils back into it? There's Amadou. Triple try. No good. Up ahead, and the throwdown for Donovan Freeman.
Well, that is the disadvantage of deep three-point shots. They lead to long rebounds, and you got Freeman leaking out.
Donovan Freeman now has 21 after that fast break slam dunk. To the rim and a finish by Williams. And right back. How about a little range for Freeman? He's showing off the game today.
We came out here to see Donovan Freeman, and he is putting on a show. The one-handed five-slammer jammer, and then a little bit of a chest bump. But beyond that, he wants to show you the versatility of his game. Big fella pulls back and knocks it down from way downtown.
Freeman has 24, 11 of 18 from the field. He just knocked down that triple. 7 rebounds. He's got an assist and 3 block shots in just 24 minutes on the court. How about that? 24 points in 24 minutes.
Listen, I covered him for the first time as a sophomore last year in the DC State Athletic Association playoffs. I saw this kid and I said, he can do whatever he wants to do when he wants to do it. And speaking with Coach Behan, as we talked about earlier, his challenge is keeping Freeman engaged and keeping him in attack mode, because when he is, he can do this at any point in time.
This might just be the best backcourt in the entire country at high school basketball. Donovan Freeman and Daquan Davis, those two are terrific. And Freeman today just raising his game.
That's right.
Chad, to another level.
Well, I think that especially here in the second half, he took this matchup with Amadou personally, and he wanted to show with Big Al on the court that he could get it done, and that's what he's done since the tip of the third quarter.
Offensive foul called there on Jaron Morton as he gave the defender a little hook, tried to get around him, and it's 16 points now. The lead has grown 56-40.
Well, needless to say, the Blue Devils are in the danger zone now. Can you get a stop and come down and get buckets quickly?
Shot no good. Good battle on the boards, and finally out of bounds, but a whistle saved the turnover. I think it's going to go against Malik Mack. And Chad, I understand these are high school kids.
Sure.
They've got a ton of energy, but this team from Philadelphia,
that's right.
They played Wednesday night in a tough game.
Yep.
They played last night. They jumped on a charter bus, took that drive from Philly into D.C., and you wondered, right?
Sure.
Third, fourth quarter, if they'd still have that energy.
Sure. Listen, I don't care who you are, don't care how old you are. At some point in time, the body does begin to fatigue, and that's making no excuse for them, nor are we taking away from the way that the St. John's Cadets have played, especially in the second half. But you have to imagine that there's an advantage to playing at home, quote unquote, for a reason.
And still a lot of fight in this SCH team as Morton gets it to go and draws the foul, go to the line. And he knocks that down. Ryan Call checking in for the Blue Devils as well. 56-43 St. John's. Inside 5 minutes, fourth quarter. Brett Harris, Chad Ricardo, and Jordan Giorgio down on the court. Glad you could join us today. There's been a lot of fun, a lot of basketball. Basketball day in the DMV.
And a decision made here by Coach Behan that I think is probably best. With a double-digit lead now, he's got his 3 big-time stars out of the game. There's no reason to risk injury, especially with that matchup with PVI around the corner, if you don't have to.
Also, Coach McFadden and the Blue Devils going to their bench. Giving a little breather to Amadou, and also Burns over there. And so we'll see when they get called upon here in the final moments of a 13-point ball game. Right now, Blue Devils looking for a couple of quick baskets. Turnaround jumper off the back of the iron, no good for Morton.
It's good defense by the Cadets, but as we've talked about, you love to still see the Devils fighting.
Really impressed with number 2, Malik Mack, for St. John's. First chance to see him. He has been phenomenal. Here he is off the pick, gives it up. Little spin move. Looking inside. Call comes up with it. He was poked in his eye, and they're going to have a whistle now. Little stoppage. I think he took a shot there, going for the loose ball.
Yeah.
But we talked about Malik Mack and heading to Harvard, first time in program history. for St. John's, and he has been just terrific. And you can get overshadowed when you have Freeman and Davis on your team.
And that's why we highlighted Malik Mack in the open. He truly is the key to the ignition of the St. John's Cadets team. The way that he gets his squad in and out of offensive sets, and he can finish and be a scorer for himself as well. As we get into the heart of WCAC season here locally, he is going to be the reason that the Cadets do or don't win the championships.
Donovan Freeman checking back in for St. John's for the final 3:30 here of the fourth quarter. And he goes up for the rebound and draws a foul.
Take a look there at Malik Mack. I mean, it just feels like he's been in a St. John's Cadets jersey for 8 years. He's so important to the program as the point guard. He's Coach Behan's right-hand man, the extension of the head coach.
Good size, too, for a point guard. He's a senior. He has been through it. And all that leadership and experience. And Mack baseline, what a delivery to Freeman and a slam dunk.
For every college coach who wondered just how good Donnie Freeman is, he's showing you. Because Amadou is a big-time defender, and he's going right at him.
Amadou knocks down the triple. Freeman has 26. But that entire sequence began with Malik Mack and the vision from the senior.
Malik Mack dropping it off, and then Freeman goes right at Big Al and takes his lunch, finishing over him at the rack, as he's been able to do time and time again here in the second half. Those two young men have battled. Big Al, of course, showing the heart of a lion. He came right back down and hit another three. It's been fun to see those two do battle.
Ronald Brown, the third, picking up that last foul. He had 16 points in SCH's loss last night to Malvern, and he is fouled out of this game. That is his fifth. And Freeman with 26. He's 12 of 19 from the floor. So efficient here, Chad. He has really dominated inside.
Yeah, you use not only the height, but also if you just look at his build, Brent, he's got wide shoulders. He may be slight of frame, but he actually does have some size to him. And so he goes when he drives to the rack. His ability to create space, to give himself air room to make those shots is huge.
St. John's taking some time off the clock, and then they calmly drain a three. Devin Totley, the freshman.
Depth all across the court for this team.
Oh, and an answer for Jaron Morton. He has really been a floor leader for this Blue Devils squad. And all the way to the rim, and a finish there by Totley. This is going back and forth, the number fours on each team. Amadou pulls down the offensive board, and another knockdown for Morton.
All right.
Last four baskets, it's been a number four.
Not done yet.
Knocking him down.
Blue Devils still playing hard. Outside chance.
Working a little clock here for Pat Behan's squad. And St. John's with an 11-point lead. 1 minute, 20 seconds left here in the fourth quarter. Coleman on a breakdown on Amadou. Gives it up. That is blocked, and then a foul is called.
Outstanding defense there by Amadou, able to stay in front of Donnie Freeman as he wanted to take him. Freeman does drop it off to Mack, who skies high and draws another trip to the free throw line.
Only loss of the season for St. John's, 72-64 against Good Counsel. That was January 13th. They struggled in that game, really shooting the three, but Coach said they responded with a great practice on that Sunday morning, I think he knew things were going to be just fine the way his team came back, worked hard, and got ready for the next game. And this is one of the more impressive games they've had this year, and they've had some big wins.
Sure, you talk about expectations, and the expectations outside of the building are no higher than what the cadets expect out of themselves on the inside. Coach Behan and really the entire DMV was surprised when they fell to good counsel, but this team responded. They responded the game after, and they've responded every game ever since.
And Amadou, Big Al, picking up the foul, heads to the bench. 11 points, a lot of work, 4 rebounds, but guess what? Not a single block shot for Big Al in this ball game, and he came in with 61 block shots. But did he have his hands full today with Donovan Freeman?
It's hard to imagine, but that is the coaching of Donovan Freeman and Freeman's understanding of how to use his body when he when he drives directly at Big Al. That came up huge, again, especially in the second half today.
They had a foul called. It's going to go against the freshman Zion Chase. Got to say, though, Chad, SCH has to be proud of the way they played here today against one of the best teams in the country.
That's right.
This matchup between Philadelphia and the DMV, and I think they certainly showed well here in this game.
And no, Coach McFadden and his young men have absolutely nothing to hang their heads about. We talked about it playing last night, taking the trip down here to the DMV. None of that is easy. And, of course, the least easy of all of that is having to play this nationally ranked St. John's team with only 1 loss on the season. They came out here for 2.5 quarters and were tooth and tooth, neck and neck, fighting with this squad. Late, St. John's pulls away a little bit, but nothing to be discouraged about.
Basketball day in the DMV continues right here on NBC Sports Washington. The Wizards getting set to host the Orlando Magic. Coverage begins 6:30 with a pregame show and then a 7 o'clock tip down at Capital One Arena. It all started at 10 a.m. here at DeMatha Catholic High School. Patriot and Largo, which was a terrific game, went into overtime. And then it's going to wrap up tonight with Orlando and the Washington Wizards. And this is 2 days. There's more games tomorrow as part of this Capital Hoops Challenge. 2 days, 26 teams coming from 4 states and, of course, the district as well. And today's quadruple header of high school hoops here on NBC Sports Washington has been phenomenal. We have seen some great games, but I got to tell you, Chad, it is going to be nap time for the broadcast teams when this thing is over. It has been a long day, but it has been a lot of fun.
It has been a ton of fun, and we hope that you watching at home have enjoyed it as much as we have. Just the best student athletes in the DMV and beyond putting on for you here today. It has been great games, great action, and great to showcase these student athletes.
And you can see those student athletes from Springside Chestnut Hill Academy out of Philadelphia. Yeah, tough. It's never easy, right? Going on the road, a tough loss, but you know, St. John's, they are one of the best teams in the country. They have been ranked in the top 20 nationally all season long, and they have won a couple of tournaments, as we mentioned. The one out in San Diego, very impressive, and their head coach, Pat Behan, getting his 150th career victory. And you'll be able to take that to 151 when this thing ends. And we're in the final minute of a game that St. John's really pulled away in the second half. This was tight. It was a 2-point game, Chad, at the break.
That's right. And just to speak a little bit more to that, covering high school athletics in the DMV is something that I hold near and dear to my heart. I have love for every one of these student athletes, every one of these schools, but you can't help but to root for the St. John's Cadets. Coach Pat Behan, they are Behan strong. You root for him in life as well as for his team.
And a rebound and up ahead, and St. John's is just going to sit on it here and let the clock run out. Final seconds. And that'll do it. St. John's will move to 17-1 on the season as they knock off Springside Chestnut Hill Academy out of Philadelphia, 67-53, the final. What a game from Donovan Freeman, who finished with 26 points. He added 8 rebounds, a couple of assists, and 3 block shots. There is a reason this kid is a 4-star and the top recruit coming out of D.C. Teams like Texas, Maryland, Alabama, they're all watching to see who he picks and where he goes on the college level.
I tell you what, I mean, what he's doing is he's taking that stat sheet and he's emailing it to all of the ESPNs, all of the 247s, and saying, hey, fellas, where's my 5th star? What do I have to do to earn that? Because he certainly put on a show here today.
Donovan Freeman did it all, and St. John's got it done, 67-53 the final. And the final of our quadruple header on NBC Sports Washington, it was Patriot getting the win early against the Largo Lions. It was fun to see Cam Ward, who had 24 in that game for Largo in a loss, Patriot to 15-2. In the second game, Gwynn Park squeaking it out, 59-56 over Glen Elm. DeMatha lost by 3 to Word of God. And then in this one, 67-53, St. John's the win. Star of the game, Donovan Freeman, and he is with Jordan down on the court.
Donnie, congrats. Once again, this team proves why you deserve to be nationally ranked. The Blue Devils didn't make it easy, though, early on. How did you ultimately get this one done?
I mean, coming into the game, we knew what it was. We did the scout. We knew they were going to be a tough team, but I mean, it's a team sport. And with my brothers, we went to war. It was a tough game. We pulled out with a dub.
This was a huge game for you all. Number one goal, obviously, to get a win today. But how do you carry this momentum into next week when you know you have a really good opponent from outside the area in PVI?
Just don't get content. I mean, we got Corey being content on Friday against good counsel. So just don't be content. Stay hungry all the time, and it starts with preparation.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Congrats.
Thank you, Jordan. Big win, and Freeman was so good in this one, the 26 points, Chad. And, it is interesting because now they can turn their attention to the matchup that we have all been talking about, which is a Paul VI, and we saw what Freeman was able to do today. I bet you Paul VI was watching as well.
I am sure as well. I mean, in the first half, Donnie Freeman was especially good. In the second half, he was unstoppable. He did a little bit of everything, taking it high-flying over top of the rim. He showed his ability to knock it down outside to pass as well. The kid is phenomenal.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. St. John's in a very tough win. Don't let that final score fool you because this one was tight through the first quarter. And, Chad, what an awesome day. 4 games of basketball. We started with a little breakfast and coffee and some hoops, and we ended with a classic here as well.
No, it was. It was a great day. We saw 2 games. One of those we only broadcast the end of it, but a couple of games going to overtime. You had that DeMatha and Word of God game going into overtime as well. This one close on in through the third quarter, and we see the performance from Donnie Freeman. This was a tremendous day of basketball.
Yeah, basketball in the DMV. It doesn't get any better, and there was a lot of high-flying action. Basketball day in the DMV coming to a close. Wizards coming up a little bit later as they host the Orlando Magic. For our entire crew here with Monumental Sports and NBC Sports Washington, Jimmy Patsos, Chad Ricardo, Jordan Giorgio, Chase Hughes, and all the rest, I'm Brett Harris saying have a great night and a great day of basketball.